videos where you have an officer basically around the neck area.
These two retired Vegas cops, now podcast hosts.
They don't have ID. They can't get into a hotel room. To get them the help they need, especially if someone even gets arrested. A lot of people don't know how the justice system works.
But I want someone to actually know them and know that it's...
Hey everybody, this is David Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver. Welcome for a new episode of the Problem Solver. We also are live on different social media platforms, but thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been a little bit since we've done the Problem Solver. We're getting back into the groove of things today. Have great co-hosts here. We have to my right, we have Rose. Welcome, Rose.
Hello, everybody.
Rose is helping us out as a co-host. Hopefully she'll be with us. We'll probably do continuously every week or 2 weeks. And then we have my lovely co-host. We have Gentil.
You almost forgot my name? Really?
I was about to say, it's been a while. I was about to say, do I say my beautiful Cambodian host?
Yeah.
Which I forgot. It's been a while since I've said that.
I know.
Thanks, Gentil.
You should say my name in your sleep, you know?
I don't think my wife would like that.
Oh, okay.
But here at the studio, it's acceptable is what I'm being told. And then we have Nephi, who's basically with the Double Tap Show. Welcome, Nephi.
Welcome. That's my third or fourth time here.
Yeah.
Nephi is a problem solver celebrity here, basically, on the podcast of the Problem Solver.
Yes,
he's been on before, and I was actually thinking about him the other day as we were going to come back and do some more podcasts and some different topics. I recently reached out to some people that were, running for mayor and some different things. And I was thinking, what's going on with Nephi? And then some things popped up, and it was perfect timing.
You just like people that get in trouble. It's good for the show.
Well,
it is the problem solver.
Yeah, it is the problem solver. I'm looking for people that have problems, and Nephi happens to have a problem. So we have to solve. By the end of the hour, we have to solve his problem.
Oh, got it.
So one of us here at the table.
I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Tough call.
So,
solve your problem.
But just to recap, Nephi basically has been very vocal in the community in regards to CCWs and gun safety and the rights that people have. As a retired police officer, I'm very pro firearms, and protect your rights. Actually, the other day, someone broke into my car. I actually left the car probably unlocked with the 3 kids, and they stole like a bag and stuff like that. This criminal activity takes place. Actually, it's been a long time that I actually personally, as a retired police officer, that I actually been a victim of a crime, and it's definitely not a fun feeling. And even a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, there were some young adults that kind of drove into the community. It's gated, doesn't make a difference, right? Gated community, and they kind of cloaked out a little bit, and then they saw me. I was kind of watching, and I'm retired now. I'm with my wife in the car, and what am I really doing? And I see they run back to the car and they jet. And I kind of chased them. I called 911, basically say, look, I'm following people. They were definitely, casing a house. They turned their lights off. They were driving pretty quickly, and they're like, well, there's no police around, so you could just kind of stop your pursuit. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I want to, get a cop out of here, right? I mean, I was a cop for 17 years. So
did you get their license plate?
So I got the information, shared it with Metro. Who knows, what happens. But, it's just not fun to be a victim. So I am for, once you're a victim of a crime, you're like, okay, now I got to secure my home. Is someone going to break into the home? Do I have firearms in the house? I'm going to be able to protect my family. And, these times are changing, especially in California. And I feel that it's kind of drifting here to Las Vegas because people think that it's acceptable in California, New York, these other places. And I'm kind of concerned about the future of Las Vegas. Right. And gun rights are important. I think it's a problem crime. And I think we have, personally, I met the new sheriff and seems like a good guy. Never knew him.
I like Kevin in spite of
the situation.
Recent situation, yeah.
He seems like a good guy.
Was he responsible for what happened to him recently?
He's not responsible for it.
Well, let's just jump into it. It's kind of a little rambling a little bit. But anyway, Nephi, tell us, just for people that don't know you, just give a little bit of your background and then explain what happened to you 48 hours ago.
So I've been, I've been in Vegas for almost 30 years. And about 2014, I opened Las Vegas Gunfights. We did full contact simunition with mixed martial arts, combining guns and MMA for the first time in a combat sport. And then in 2018, right after we all got shot at Mandalay Bay, decided to do a one-time event, a promotional, largest CCW class in United States history. I thought maybe to get a 100 or so people. It was never my plan to do anything more than one event and maybe 100 people. And we had 14,000 people sign up.
What? Wow.
Yeah, it was massive response. Well, I could only accommodate 1,000 students. And we asked Metro, hey, is this okay for us to do? And they're like, yeah, as long as the class is taught correctly. You expect good faith, right? Hey, we're communicating, we're asking, this is a different thing. And they sent an undercover in the class who snuck in by the bathrooms 2 hours after we started. The only dishonest person in the whole crowd. And then they waited until everybody turned their permit in, paid their $100, and then after they paid that $100 non-refundable fee, nullified all their applications. That's $100,000 that people paid.
Wow.
And then they said, oh no, class wasn't taught correctly because one guy, which might as well have been the janitor, because he didn't get a certificate. He was just in there. So they put me under grand jury investigation. I don't know how that made sense because it was a free class, like where there's no money changing hands. Shut down my business, went through a bunch of rigmarole for about 9 months, got reinstated, back to business, and I decided, maybe I can help people better, from this perspective, because I do have a lot to offer people as far as helping understand violent criminals, and the way that I teach and instruct. It resonates with people. I'm the most highly reviewed CCW instructor anywhere in Vegas.
Hey, what year was that? I'm sorry. When you
2018.
Did that? Okay.
And then by 19, I was kind of back at it after going through all the attacks from he who shall not be named, who is now our governor. And then I got back and decided that I was going to actually continue doing CCW classes because I felt that I had something valuable to offer people in that kind of training. And then I got on the library stage with 600 students this time, and I told some jokes. And they're funny as hell jokes. They're about gun safety and different races and how everybody's different. Stereotypical jokes, The sheriff at the time was really embarrassed that he's kind of associated with one of his instructors who's certified by police department to teach these classes. Suspend me again
because they thought it was racist.
Well,
that's what they
whatever
thought.
It was,
okay.
But it's still free speech.
Right.
It's interesting.
It's still just a joke.
I've been to your class. It is quite funny, actually.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was just telling jokes. It got 8 hours, make it funny, right? I got suspended again for that, and then all the sheriffs in Nevada kind of voted to overturn that, and they reinstated me for the third time. And then somebody got shot in one of my classes. Another instructor was teaching, and a new student had an accidental discharge, ricocheted off the floor, hit somebody in the leg. Not serious. But this is a concern because after COVID, we had all these people that were signing up for classes that were first-time shooters in a CCW class to get a permit. Like they're literally never shot a gun before and they want to carry one now. You can't say no to them, even though I have very, very strong concerns about capability and how well they'll do. But still, it's their right. And my job is to do the best that I can during the time that I have them. Well, after a student got shot, I sent a proposal to the Sheriff's Association, who creates the standards for these classes that we kind of have to follow, and then to the CCW detail at Metro. Because I have access to simunition non-lethal ammo, that I wanted to make it available for all the instructors to be able to qualify so that we never have another student in anybody's class shot. It's a training class. You don't need to risk getting injured yourself or the person who does it. It's used by law enforcement for very realistic training. And I was willing to provide that for other people in my competitors, even to be able to use that tool. Another student had been shot in the head at a gun range.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, just to jump in real quickly, I think, from people that I've spoken to that that said, like, in regards to the classes, that someone got shot. I mean, it's a gun, and if you're going through firearms training, and it's just really a class to shoot, 25 shots?
30
shots.
rounds at 3.5.
And then, it's not like you're being trained how to use a firearm,
Right. Who cares how badly you damage the paper? Can you handle it safely?
The goal is to get a permit is what you're trying to do. It's not like a really firearms training. It's you got to just do 30 shots, and as long as you hit this area. But it's not extensive training in regards to firearms.
It's not necessary to do live
It's basic
fire.
information to get the permit.
It's
a permit.
an administrative class.
So in regards to shooting, people need more training. Absolutely. I mean, I was a cop for 17 years, went through 2 police academies. I mean, I know how to shoot better than a normal person, but it's not an easy thing, right? You shoot as well. It's not an easy thing to do. And then you have all kinds of random people from all walks of lives and all different states and all different things. And
that's a recipe
And
for
all
an
different
accident.
firearms.
but
too.
here's the question. I don't know.
Wait, let me finish this part because I'm almost there.
Okay, finish.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
want
sure.
you to tell us a joke
Okay.
that you use in class.
So after I made this proposal to the Sheriff's Association and Metro, I was waiting for the response, like patiently waiting. Instead, they quietly changed the standards to make it so I couldn't use it. And then they suspended me for that. And that kind of brings us up to right now. And that was it for me. I was just done. And so on the 23rd of this year, or last month, excuse me, on February 23rd, I filed a lawsuit against the Sheriff's Association for fraud. For using the state seal in their logo, the great seal of the state of Nevada, which is against the law to use that seal without the governor's permission. They don't have it, and it's on a badge. So it suggests an authority that they don't have. It makes people think that they're government agency with authority, and they're not.
What did they use it on?
A week. Oh, on all their logos and everything.
Oh.
And their website. And they were only given power to create training standards to follow for sheriff's approved courses, not to take action against instructors or permittees or to investigate people. This is not a government agency, right? So, but it is comprised of all the sheriffs and all the police chiefs and so they all go back to their respective departments and do what they do. But I sued them for fraud. For fraudulent misrepresentation, for collusion, for violation of privacy, a lot of legitimate grievances that I have about their overreach, right, and representing themselves as an authority that they're not. And so what happens? Metro calls me on Monday and says, I think it was Monday. Hey, it's the Sergeant Aaron Fink. He says, we want to sit down. We want to go through some of your concerns. Some of your new instructors that you're submitting, and finally a meeting that I want to take place. For years, I've been wanting to sit down and talk. And so I get that call for the meeting. I get my suit on. I head down to the police headquarters to meet. They open the door. I walk in. They put me in handcuffs.
No way.
Guess what they charged me with?
Shit.
Fraud.
What, yeah. They just flipped it on you.
They try to flip it on me.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they put me in handcuffs, and it was because I'm sitting there kind of in a room like this, and they didn't, they had me in shackles, belly chains, and I'm in a suit, and we're talking. And I said, it's ironic that I finally get to talk to you, but it takes me getting arrested for us to finally have a conversation. And all you ever had to do was talk to me, right? Ignoring me and telling me off or whatever it is. Look, are we going to have this perennial issue every single year? Because I'm not going to just sit down, shut up, and be quiet, because this is important. You're managing a constitutional right for not only me, but everybody else. It's not a joke. It's not some little privilege. It's not a privilege. It's a right that people have, and it's going to be respected. You're going to take it seriously. And even though I got to get myself arrested right? To draw attention to the issue.
Yeah.
I promise you things will change within the departments because I'm getting arrested, because I've got 3 lawsuits against the Sheriff's Association and Metro. And look, it's war, and everybody's up in arms about Kaliki getting arrested. But you know what? If you don't believe in something enough to get arrested, you don't believe in it.
Hey, but was that kind of like a lure tactic?
It was bad faith. It was bad faith because, and it suggests that they know that all I want to do is talk it out. And when you have terms like de-escalation and things in law enforcement, and you say, you know what he wants most? He wants to talk. So let's use that as the bait to get him in here and then arrest him.
That's crazy.
It's horrible,
Is that legal?
bad faith. Of course, law enforcement can lie all they want, but they wonder what happens to the relationship between citizens and law enforcement. This is why people don't trust law enforcement, because there's always a trick. There's always some deception, and then they're justified in doing it. Yet the hypocrisy of, we're going to bring you in here under the premise of a lie. We're going to, basically manipulate you because we know you want to talk this out, but we don't. We want blood, right? And I come in good faith and boom, arrest me. And then he says, okay, that was the only lie, right? From now on, we're going to be straight. Nope, wasn't it either. And Aaron Fink, I just have to say, Sergeant, I'm very disappointed in your lack of integrity.
But
How can you
that
trust
goes
them?
along with
You
everything
can't.
that's going on in the country, because there's so many frivolous lawsuits and, everyone like getting arrested for like weird stuff that doesn't make sense.
And they typically are conservative.
Yeah,
yeah.
that is absolutely.
And you know what? Who got arrested? As I'm walking out of CCDC, guess who's walking in?
Who?
Rodimer, Congressman, the guy who ran for Congress.
It was a.
Oh my gosh, you don't know about this?
I heard it was the
No.
murder. case?
Knucklehead got charged with murder.
Murder, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What?
But he was a Democrat, no?
No, he might as well be because he didn't win. But yeah, he was. And then it's I can't tell you how many people I know. Chairman of the Republican Party here, going up for election interference and all this stuff for the alternate electors. Irina Hansen, who's running for mayor, her sister was just all over the news. She just went to jail for interfering with the medical procedures of her daughter.
That's
Interesting.
crazy. And there was a judge that got murdered not too long ago, and she was in a case against child trafficking and child pornography and that kind of stuff.
You know, the laws in this country were originally designed to protect freedom, and now they're being used to strip that freedom.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what's
I
happening.
don't know how I can live in that world and not say something. And, people say, oh, is it worth you going to jail? Well, I think about the soldiers and the sacrifice that they made for the very same idea. And am I being asked any less of me? Like, if I'm in a position to say something or to do something, a lot of people who have made changes in the world have gone to jail, Gandhi being one of them, and standing up for what you believe in. Look, I got a lot of other things that I could do with my life. I have a lot of skills and talents. And they asked me this, why didn't you just move on and go, train something else or do this or do that? And I said, because I believe in what I'm doing.
That's what they asked you?
Yeah. Like when you got suspended, well, because they're basically saying that I forged certificates from another instructor, which is not true. I did not at all.
Well, they have to find something.
Well, the other
use against
instructor, Ray Walker, who was my partner and instructor. He threw me under the bus, and he basically said, "I didn't sign those," blah 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 blah. And so they're charging me with forgery. But
Why would he say that?
because his license was now on the line. So he was going to choose himself or he's
using it
going to
against-
choose me.
Yep.
Yeah, so their case is based on a witness who I can prove is lying. But it's my business. And, if a doctor, like take, for example, Glenn Lerner, right? Glenn Lerner's not a lawyer anymore. right? He's the face of Lerner and Rowe, but he lost his license to practice years ago, and he's still there, active in business, but he's not allowed to practice law per se. But it doesn't mean he's not looking at cases, saying hi to clients or whatever. It's not like he's a sex offender and he can't be around law books. It's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah, he's not an attorney
definite?
anymore.
So it's just the name now.
Something about not showing up for a capital murder case, like just blowing it off or something.
I heard something, but I
years.
didn't know.
It's been years, but so I own Vegas CCW. We do a lot of bookings for classes. If I'm there in there, or you got, here's the other issue. Part of them suspending me was that somebody else taught part of your class, and it was another instructor who's certified. Every single CCW class has range assistants or RSOs or helpers or guest speakers, or guy comes in to pitch the CCW insurance or teach how to gun clean, or they bring in a lawyer. None of these guys are instructors,
Right.
but they're taking up time within that 8-hour period. Basically, Metro is suggesting that the 8 hours has to be taught 100% by the instructor, as opposed to an instructor supervising to make sure that the course is done right.
But why wouldn't you want a lawyer to tell you like what the consequences are of you shooting somebody?
Well, the
or
problem
something like
they're
that?
going to have is that they're clearly singling me out, and it's malicious prosecution. First, I just sued them for fraud. Boom.
Yeah.
Then they come back and charge me with fraud.
Yep.
They're not enforcing these kinds of rules on any other instructor, just me.
Yeah.
They created those no simunition, non-lethal ammo standards specifically to restrict one individual.
Yeah.
And we've got a long history of going back and forth about these issues.
Sure.
And I believe a certain way, and basically their position is don't question us.
But
and
you're the
that's-
face.
No.
But see, since you're the face of the company and the business,
Yeah, they
it's
wanna
your
make an example out of me.
Absolutely, yeah. So
I'm just pissed that, I'm always making the news, but this time I don't like the way my hair looked.
You looked a little disheveled.
I was going for the Trump look. I was
What?
trying to do the...
wait. So that picture was taken when you went in.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind
I
of.
couldn't read the paperwork because I know
But it kind of looks like you woke up, though. It kind of looked like they came banging on your door or something. 'Cause
No.
you look a little disheveled.
I was trying to do the Trump thing, like his mugshot.
Yeah.
But you don't know when they're snapping the damn photo,
Yeah.
so it didn't come out right. I couldn't ask for a redo.
I don't think they want to make it look good in those shots.
I could have done Blue Steel or the Trump booking photo.
You should
You're
have.
going to make shirts now.
Oh my God, you should have, Nephi.
I should.
That would've
But
been
you know
funny.
what? Everybody I know who's doing anything worth speaking about nowadays, they got a mugshot.
There's a
and
big
now
roundup.
now I can join the club with Trump and
Yeah.
You know what's interesting?
That's
It's
true.
a roundup, but they've been doing that for years now.
You know what's interesting?
yeah. Well,
They
I stay out of there. Most
people
of the
say that, like they were saying that he's racist, but Trump.
time. I'm Afghan. How is that possible?
Well, that's the first thing. Like if he was white or black and making jokes, but like he's in the middle, I guess we could say, right? Like he's
Dude, people
Middle
are just
Eastern.
so fucking sensitive. It's just amazing,
no, they're just looking for something to bitch
that's what I'm
about.
saying.
But I think it's different. Like if he was,
If he was
a
white.
white person making a joke about all these other races,
It'd
then
be
I can
okay.
see it. But since he's
But
Middle
I
Eastern,
busted on every race.
yeah, even your own race.
Of course.
No, it's worse too if you're a white person making jokes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I'm
he's
just saying. I'm saying that
Oh, it
it's
would
better
be
for the
worse.
fact that he's not white or black. Like he's Middle
White
Eastern. He's
people
in the
can't
middle.
joke about nothing anymore.
no.
Got it. Okay.
No.
So things are
So
changing. This is
ethnic
the
people
problem. Everyone's so
can. So we
sensitive in
can.
general.
So
Yeah.
you can.
You might be okay because
Yeah,
you're
we
part
can.
Italian.
Okay.
We can make Asian
So-
jokes.
Speaking of which, why don't you tell us one of the jokes that you would tell? in
Wait,
class?
hold on.
Okay,
Hold on,
fine.
Joe.
Okay, hold on.
Let's talk. This is the real
But a
stuff.
short
here.
one.
We
Wait,
wanna
I
talk- we
almost
wanna-
have every group in here.
We
except-
want to talk about the real stuff here. The jokes can come later.
No,
But here's my question
it's
for you.
so
This
serious.
Let's go for. Well, this is serious.
I know it's a
I know what
serious
you're going to
matter,
ask me,
but you
David.
gotta throw.
No, I got a few questions. One, I'm just thinking the questions, but here's the first question. When you do the shots with what's not real ammo, is there any
it's just-
law that states that you can't?
Oh,
because
so
people
you-
say that you should use the real ammo.
I'm glad you brought that up because the other lawsuit I filed against Metro is for violating preemption law in Nevada. Now, preemption law passed in 2015 that's basically retracted all municipal or county laws or ordinances relative to firearms, ammunition, and the definitions thereof. Only the state legislature can define or regulate firearms. So when while the Sheriff's Association and Metro are all out there, we could just change the standards, and then we know he's doing it still, so we'll change the standards, not tell anybody, and then bam, we'll revoke him again, and we'll get him, right? So that's what they did, not realizing that when Metro then begins to adopt those standards, when they're standards in the think tank version, but when you start to apply them, they become regulations. So when Metro suspended my license for using non-lethal ammunition, which was against the standards, they violated preemption law, because only the ability to define ammunition goes to the state legislature. And the beautiful thing is the penalty for violating preemption law is 3 times the actual damages. And right now they're racking up a $445,000 bill.
Wow.
Right. So, of course, they're trying to get at me. Right. People all think, oh, Kaliki, we knew it. No, you don't know the whole story. You don't even know a portion of the story, and I have them against the ropes on these lawsuits, and the third one is a writ of mandamus, which is forcing them to honor other certificates other than the ones from the Sheriff's Association. That's a kind of a separate issue. But they violated preemption law. They didn't realize that, oh, crap, I just tried to redefine ammunition so that one person couldn't use it. And then we took action against them. Well, the statute says clearly any action from any county or government agent or officer who is in violation of this statute is null and void.
Wow.
And the person that was affected by that is entitled statutorily to 3 times the actual damages. Well, that's $25,000 to $30,000 a month for the last year.
Oh, that's crazy.
You have a good lawyer?
So
You have a good lawyer?
I'm doing it all pro se.
Wow.
I'm damn near a lawyer.
Let me ask you something. Did the media even bother to come and
Nope. You mean call me?
Yep.
Nope. Because it was a hit piece.
Yeah. Exactly.
but who-
That's exactly
They even
what I
reached
got.
out to Rodimer.
Yeah.
And he's like, he wasn't available for comment.
How do they find those stories? Or how did they know, like,
Oh,
you
so-
got arrested?
So
how does that happen?
So Sergeant Fink tells me we're not interested in going in the media or doing any of this. Liar.
They are
Press
the ones
release.
who call.
oh, they
press release.
do. Okay.
They did a press release.
Yeah.
And now they're blasting it out because they're trying to take me out financially. They're trying to make an example out of me. They've been wanting to do this for years.
Yeah.
One of the problems I have, like with the justice system, which is not perfect, and I do believe that he's not trying to do something wrong, in my personal opinion, for knowing him. I mean, he is trying to do things a little bit differently, and people see that. Probably in the past, no one's ever used, what do you call it? Ammunition.
It's hard. You know what I went through
No
to
one's
get
probably
approved to use simunition?
So no one's probably ever done that. So when they see
No.
that, they're like, "Oh my God, he's doing it wrong!" Like it's already a conspiracy.
No, I'm not
thing,
doing it wrong.
But basically, if he believes and he looked at the law, like I'm not one to read that. I'm not involved in it. But if he believes it's okay, but everybody else that's in the industry would say, "Oh, he's doing it wrong,"
Because they can't do it.
So that's one thing. But the second thing is that what makes me nervous in regards to being arrested is that probable cause is when you're basically over 50%, 1% over 50%. So it doesn't, he can get arrested, but doesn't mean that he's going to be guilty of an actual
No,
crime.
and the
He
news is up. Fox 5 is probably going to get a defamation suit from me because they're calling it fraud, not alleged fraud.
Right.
Yeah, that is
They're,
true.
they're defaming you already.
Yeah.
So everything,
that's-
is
all a hit piece.
it's alleged. There's 1% over 50%, which makes probable cause. He gets arrested. Now he's got to fight out. But the problem is, just like all these people that are out there, with the Tupac Shakur shooting, the guy that's in jail right now, whether innocent or not, he's got to spend $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 on lawyers to basically fight for his justice. If he truly didn't do it.
Yeah, justice is not free.
So that's the problem. Then if you get a public defender, some are good, some aren't, some don't care. And it's kind of it's not the best process, and that's why honestly the lower socioeconomic group of all society is
jail.
takes a deal.
That's why they're in jail.
And they go to jail because they can't afford to have a private attorney
Don't worry.
that's
They're
willing to
letting
fight.
them all out.
Well, that's what's going on right now. Everyone's being let out anyway.
I'm not going nowhere.
But the system isn't perfect. As a retired cop, basically, I feel for people in general that have to take these deals because they can't afford even like a DUI these days, right? You got to hire an attorney. It's $3,500, $5,000. Any felony, $7,500 to $20,000-$50,000. Some lawyers would charge $250,000.
Yeah.
I mean, who has that type of money to basically
Depends on
fight for
whose ass
justice?
is on the line. Yeah.
So if you have money, yes, you're going to get someone to fight, for your justice. And so, like I said, he's sitting. I even mentioned Nephi, like, are you okay with coming on the show to talk about it? If you feel that's something you want, and most attorneys would probably say,
You
hey,
shouldn't,
don't
right?
come on the show,
Yeah.
don't talk about it in general. But
Oh no, you know that's not me.
Yeah.
so I put it out there because I didn't want him to have a problem, and but
Right.
he's very forthcoming, wants to speak about it in general. Even the jokes, and he'll mention. I know you're kind of excited to hear his jokes that you already heard. I mean, honestly, is it? Some people say, "Oh, it was done in poor taste." I mean, he's trying to joke around, make the class a little bit.
The whole class was busting
entertaining.
up. Only the people that
I've been through his class. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't like, he says it up
wasn't
front.
laughing.
He's no. He says it up front. Like if you're going to be basically,
Offended.
offended, you can leave right now. I mean, you can walk out and leave.
Yeah.
I was in the class to observe his class, and no one really laughed. If anything, people were laughing. Most of the people were veterans. He did all these different races in regards to stereotypes. He wasn't being biased about a specific one. He talked about all races in general, and. Actually, most people were laughing. Most of the people in the class were veterans. And honestly, I thought it was a nice thing that he was doing for the veterans. I mean, I'm all about, if you can give a free CCW class, you could afford to do that. I mean, he's doing that to help the veterans at the time. And also, he gets his name out there in general. It's
Why
good
don't you
public
tell
relations.
us a joke then?
I'm not a
there's
joke.
nothing
tell us
funny.
one of your
Dave doesn't
racist
know
jokes.
anything.
So,
not racist, racial.
besides you telling the jokes, the stereotype jokes, what other issues? Like, so you have the complaint now, right?
I have two filed complaints. One against the Sheriff Association.
This is your lawsuits.
Yeah, I'm pro
Did you
se.
read the complaint against you?
Of course.
Oh, I read the charges against me.
But you don't have the full report.
No, we haven't done
Okay.
disclosure or anything yet.
So, my next question is this: the guy that what's his name? The CCW instructor. What's his name?
Ray Walker,
Right.
the bus guy.
He was very friendly with you. He worked.
Oh,
with
you're
you for
talking
how
about
long?
Aaron Fink,
No,
the sergeant?
No, you're the instructor that you hired when you couldn't teach.
Oh, Ray.
You hired. You paid him. You paid
Yeah.
him to teach a class, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time that you basically, had a class that he was teaching? I mean, you paid him to teach the class. You didn't teach the class.
I'm not going to get into any details on timelines and things because they're still looking at things. All I will say is that whatever it is they think they're charging me with, it's based on his statement that's false, and I have receipts. So it's gonna alter itself quite a bit. He chose to save himself, throw me under the bus. They saw it as an opportunity to get Kaliki, and they were a little. They jumped the gun a little bit because they don't have all the facts.
And just to recap, you could own a CCW
Sure, just like
school
Glenn Lerner.
and pay
I could own a
somebody.
doctor's office.
Got it. And you could pay
Yeah.
somebody. Every state's a little bit different. Like a law office, technically, in the state
But
of
the
Nevada.
thing is, there's no rules about it.
Okay.
There's no rules that say you can't, in the standards that says an instructor has to be present 100% of the time. An instructor can't authorize another person to operate under their license. It doesn't say that at all. So what rule are we breaking if there isn't one?
Right.
Right? They're just stretching.
Rules get written though after.
No, and there's
after
a
things
question
like
about
this.
jurisdiction because if any instructor is found to be in violation of law or the standards, then the protocol per statute is to go through the Sheriff's Association to take action, not the friggin' courts.
Got
It's
it.
a civil matter.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And if you think I'm not going to make this at the forefront conversation, people get arrested and they want to go sit at home and not talk about stuff. Oh, I'm going to talk about it.
Good.
Right? And if you think that these lawsuits, and the news don't want to mention that. Oh, yeah. Last week, Nephi Kaliki filed a lawsuit against the Sheriff Association alleging fraud for their use of the state seal when they're not a government agency. Oh, they don't mention that. But that's the same thing, and that's clear.
Yeah.
Clear as day. Statute says you can't do it. They're doing it. Boom. What's the problem? But they know I got them on that. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to retaliate against me and throw some weak sauce at me.
Hey, when
and
you
it's
file,
not going to work.
When you file lawsuits like that, is it public info?
Yeah, but I'll give you a copy of it.
No, but can people actually go
Well, you
and
can't
look
just
at it?
get.
No?
You could
No?
see court notes, but you'd have to go down to the courthouse to pull record.
Okay,
But yes, it is public information.
got it.
And these
That's
are
good.
brilliant lawsuits. I mean, I'm thinking about going to law school, to be honest with
should.
you. Well,
Why not?
we'll see how I do on these ones. But,
Yeah.
it's a war. It's going to be a battle back and forth. I've got 3 against them, and they've got 1 against me. Theirs is kind of weak, and mine are pretty strong.
What makes me nervous in regards to these things, a lot of times with these criminal cases, and I've worked in criminal defense law firms, is that, a lot of times they try to negotiate. Someone like Nephi is very believes in that he didn't do anything wrong, and then eventually gets set for trial. And that's what makes me more nervous, is because you basically, now you're fighting, and there's going to be a jury that basically is going to decide your future. There's no guarantee. So
I would much rather be decided on by a jury
Yeah.
than these corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody, but I am saying that there's enough of them for us to say, you don't have to have, more than a few roaches to have an infestation.
But if they're corrupt anyways, couldn't the judge overrule and overturn jury's conviction
I
of anything?
don't believe that judges
That's
are
happened.
There are things, and look, it's risky to poke the bear, right? I get that. I'm not going to stop poking the bear, right? Because I'm just not going to live in the world where I surrender to tyranny, or I surrender to people that just shut up, sit down, be quiet.
Yeah.
What upset me the most is people. They're suppressing and throttling down concealed carry permits. We're losing more permits every year than we're gaining. And that's not because of demand. That's because they're trying to find reasons to take that right away from people. And I have a problem with that.
Right.
I have a problem with them not taking it seriously. And Kevin McMahill asked, my friend Tim Bedwell, who's a former PIO for North Las Vegas, he said, "What does Nephi want?" And I'll tell you what I
That's
told.
a good question.
What I told him is, I didn't know at the time or could articulate it, but I went to this Hope for Prisoners event where Kevin McMahill was speaking at Metro headquarters, and these are all basically inmates that had graduated some kind of program, and it was a big celebration, and the sheriff spoke, and a bunch of other people, the DA spoke, and I said, I know what I want. And I want Sheriff McMahill and the police department to care as much about concealed carriers as they do about those former inmates. Because they're two sides of the same coin, right? We're putting on parties and throwing, caps and playing pomp and circumstance to celebrate this moment for these people. But concealed carriers, I would almost rather be treated the way that inmate's being treated than the way concealed carriers get treated.
Right.
And
Actually,
that's my problem.
the guy that runs the program was on the show. I'm not sure if you were here at the time,
I don't
but
know.
he actually was pardoned by President Trump because he has a
really?
criminal record from New York. It was like a long time ago with drugs and gangs and stuff like that. But he was pardoned by
The good-looking guy?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, a different guy.
All good looking guys.
you've had so
Wow,
many-
you just trapped him in.
No, he's a good looking black gentleman. But it's not the guy you're talking about. That's
okay.
Adam
Oh,
Clausen.
not the white guy.
No.
That's the who got 120 something years.
Oh, wow.
That's Adam Clausen.
yeah, I don't
who he
remember
got.
him,
I think
yeah.
he did 20 and then he got out.
Oh, wow.
He's married, by the way.
That's okay.
He's not on the billboard.
Oh.
He's not
So,
on a billboard. Damn
Sorry,
it.
sorry, Genty.
Shit. Yeah,
In other
they
words-
need to be on a billboard, okay,
Yeah.
for me to date them.
We lost another one. So, long story short, I mean, I kind of feel bad that you're involved in this situation because I know you're very passionate.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate you speaking about it today. Like I said, I wasn't really sure. I was thinking about you before I got a text message from somebody that knows that I know you, and I was thinking about having you come on the show because of crime and stuff like that in California and things going on. And I know it's a concern here for Vegas. But so, is there anything else before you go into the jokes that John T would like to hear?
Don't poke a bear while he's shitting in the woods.
I was trying to be a little bit more serious with this one, but to entertain the ladies. But is there anything more that you want to share in regards to? I do have a few attorneys that I know of that wanted to meet with you to talk with you to see about helping you. So I mean, you can meet a few
They'll
people.
get a lot of publicity.
That'd be great if they help him,
Yeah.
It's not
so
all about the money.
I do want to say thank you to the people that have reached out to me over the last couple of days. You'd think that people were, sending me FU grams and stuff, and they're not. They're keep fighting the fight. They're
Good.
stick in there because it's hard to turn my students against me because they've been through and they know that I care.
Yeah.
Right, and they know that what I want at the end of the day is for them to be okay.
Now,
And-
isn't it good that we have open carry, though? So that's kind of cool. If you can't get your CCW.
I don't. Well, that's a plan B.
Okay.
Plan A is don't make that the topic of conversation.
the problem with it is that I noticed for being here 21 years is that when you see someone with a gun, you're like looking at them, you're watching them, like you're observing
It
them.
puts their eyes on you. You're
And I
trying
always
to
feel that someone's going
blend.
to try to steal your gun, like a bad guy, or if there is a shooting or something takes place, they see you with the gun, so you're more of a target now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good that you're armed, but you know, I don't know. I don't think it's the best thing. There's
I
pros and
don't-
cons to both. It
Open
depends.
carry is, I respect it as a right, but not a practice.
I think it's too easy actually for people to get arrested for the fact that it's open carry. It's very easy to be like, oh, it's concealed. I got you, a felony. You know.
Yeah,
so,
I don't trust anybody. You know, my
makes me a
trust
little
level has
nervous.
just gone down. You know, the bad faith that I've experienced recently, it just, I lost a lot of respect that I had been holding on to for our law enforcement.
You know, a few people reached out to me because I mentioned about you coming on the show, and they said, "Hey, it's a bad idea for you to come on the show. That it looks bad in general." And I was like, "Look, you know, I've seen him, you know, speak. I've seen him teach. I've seen him also hire an instructor, and the instructor was passionate, and he's passionate in general. And I actually thought it was good for you to come on, and especially if you want to speak in general. So I appreciate you speaking about the topic because I do believe that you are passionate about, you know, the right to bear arms and so on. And like I said, things are getting more dangerous. I think having the CCW and also, you know, open carry is great that we have in other cities that are really dangerous. And I mean, you know, if you look at the news, we get desensitized, but if you look what's going on, right, there's a murder here, a body found in the back of the car, you know, there's crime taking place, there's murder taking place. People think that
not
just
safe.
just because you have a front door and some glass, I mean, anyone can get in. I mean, I'm more prepared than the next guy. And like I said, I was just victimized the other day by my car, but when does it come where someone's coming into my home to affect me and my family and my children? So, you know, I'm more prepared. You know, I have 2 AR-15 rifles ready to go now, and basically I'm just more equipped. People may say it sounds crazy, but when you get victim of a crime, you know, God forbid a woman gets sexually assaulted or something like that, you believe that you're going to be a victim for life, and it's not fun to be a victim. To me, a bag got stolen out of my car, and the glove compartment left open. I was a cop for 17 years, taking reports all the time, and I just now I'm like more of a victim, right? Now I'm like, I need cameras outside, but even with cameras, because you have cameras, so what are you going to see? A guy with like a
It's
in the
usually
dark,
catch it
cloaked
after
out.
the fact.
Yeah, it's me 3 in the morning. So some guy at 3:30 in
Yeah.
the morning opened my car door that I can't see.
Oh man.
You know, so it's a different situation, but it's not fun to be a victim. So people need to lock the doors, you know, lights on outside, have firearms just to be prepared, but also trained. Follow the law in regards to whether it's a CCW or open carry. But you need to be prepared. I think it's great these days with cameras, and you know, you get notified on your phone every time someone's coming to your home and stuff like that. So you do need to be prepared, because the bottom line is there's a lot less police officers out there. I know they're trying to hire, but you know, I mean, like Henderson, where I used to work, you know, they're in Kentucky trying to find officers. They can't find officers, right?
Who
They're
wants
going
to
to
put
other
their
states.
life on, you know?
Especially, I mean, God bless these Nevada Highway Patrol. I mean, they lost, I think, since the last year and a half, I think it's like 3-4 guys. I mean, could you imagine? I'm fortunate. I mean, I knew a few people that passed away or things happened, but 3-4 cops in 1 year that you worked with, that you knew of, that died. Nevada Highway Patrol is a very dangerous job. It's not.
What do you get paid being a police officer?
You know, every state's
usually?
different. This state happens to be more, especially with the cost of living and stuff like that. More of these, you know, more in this state.
What,
It's
80, 90, 100 grand?
It
How
could be
much?
between 50 to 150 grand.
Oh wow.
Depends on overtime.
But in other in other states, it's much. You know, honestly, there's cops probably making $15, $20 an hour in
goodness.
certain states. But in this state, actually, this is the reason why I'm in this state, was it's one of the highest paid police. You know, compared to like when I was a New York City police officer.
Interesting.
So, but then again, you lose your life, you can't
Yeah.
go home. What's the price tag on that? You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So for the ladies, if you would like, honestly, I wasn't really going to go into that. You know,
I'll just tell you
Going
what
to
I
what?
got in trouble
for
for.
John T. Tell you that's a good way of saying it. What did you get in trouble for? And you can explain how that you're not biased, right? And you
I
basically
don't.
you're not
You
a racist.
have a lot of jokes. You don't have to
I
tell
always
that
tell
specific
jokes.
one. Just tell us
Well,
one.
no, I'm good with those jokes, because you know, people are always raising their hand in classes and saying, "I understand that rule. How does it apply to Black community, Asians, Hispanic?" Everybody always thinks it's different, but the truth is, and we're talking about law enforcement interactions and things like that, and I'm always getting told that it's different for my group, and I'm like, come on, man. Maybe for you getting pulled over, but it's the same for me riding on a plane, right? The objective is still the same. I get pulled over. I want to get back to what I was doing without any holes in me and minimal financial damage. That's the objective. So I said, fine. Everybody's always saying that it's different for them. I'm going to go with that so they'll see it's the same. So I said, fine, I'm going to write gun safety rules for everybody's race.
Yeah.
Right, so you know the 4 rules: never pointed at anything you're not willing to destroy, always assume it's loaded. You know, those kind of
Yes.
rules. So, so I come out on the stage. There's 600 people. There's congressmen, senators, mayors, former assistant sheriffs at Metro. It's a hoity-toity audience. Mm-hmm. It's perfect to tell an inappropriate joke, right? Well, to watch how uncomfortable they are, try not to laugh, right? Well, everyone else is busting up. It's a trap, right? But it's funny. So I said, gun safety for white people. Just when you come to the range, always make sure to leave your Karen at home. Right?
Karen.
And always bring a black friend to prove you're not a racist. Right? So, the white people, of course, were jokes on me again, right? And I said, gun safety for Hispanic people. Make sure that when you come to the range, you always enter through the front entrance. We don't want you climbing the fence or anything. And always be sure to bring 2 forms of fake ID. Right. And then Asian people, make sure that you don't aim a firearm at any pet you're not willing to eat. And always use toothpicks to prop your eyes open while shooting. Middle Eastern people, right? Always be sure of your target before flying into it. And always keep your finger off the trigger until ready to detonate. Right? They're rolling at this point. Yeah. But the ones that the news, of course, is going to chime in on is the gun safety jokes for black folks, which is number one, always bring a white person to blame for everything that goes wrong. And number 2, always lick the chicken grease off your fingers before shooting.
Oh, shit.
Which is the same as, the toothpicks or it's all the same.
It's the same, yeah.
But,
But I just got to jump in. Curb Your Enthusiasm. He uses the same. There's one more episode coming. He uses the same type of stuff.
who does?
Curb Your Enthusiasm, the movie, the series on like HBO.
Yeah, what's his name? I forgot his name already.
Larry
Yeah.
David.
Yes.
Even the other day, I watched one where the guy got into a car accident, and Larry David basically has his roommate, which is the black guy, go to the front door, and the white guy's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you were black." I mean, it's acceptable on HBO, right? Like on a series, and they
Right.
always do these jokes. And he happens to be Jewish, playing Jewish. He is Jewish. Playing Jewish, and he makes Jewish jokes as well, which is comical. And I'm Jewish. To
It's
me, I'm
because
not,
there was
I
an
don't-
election cycle. And they just wanted something
So-
to chew on not because of me, but because of all the Republicans that were in the audience. That's why they went after it. Because when I went after and after those jokes got told, which I'm the one that released the video, I said, "Oh, you want to get mad at me because it went all over the world?" I said, "Well, wait till you hear my gun safety for transgenders." Right? Like, I'm not just gonna stop. It's you either find it funny or you don't.
Yeah.
But my mom told me years ago. She said, "Nephi, you're gonna make someone upset someday about one of your jokes." And I said, "You're right. About 1 out of 100 people get upset about my jokes. But if I can make 99 people laugh and 1 person mad, fuck that guy." Right? I would rather have 99 smiles.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you can get mad all you want. I find it funny, and I'm not going to hide from the fact that I find it funny. I think racial humor is funny, especially as an Afghan, a Middle Eastern person who is the butt of many jokes,
Yes.
especially on airplanes or, whether it's 7-Eleven owners or cab drivers or whatever it is. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
If it's funny, I'll laugh. I don't care if it's about me or you or anybody else, but we can't laugh about stuff. Look, I'm going to say this way. You better hope I'm telling jokes, because as long as I'm telling jokes, people are safe.
Yeah.
Right? If I stop laughing, then people are going to need to watch out.
And the other aspect is, like I said, people can walk out and leave.
And they never have.
What was interesting was also, like I said, he happens to be Middle Eastern. He says the Middle Eastern joke as well. If he didn't say the Middle Eastern joke, I'd be like, oh, he's
then it
all
would
the
be,
other, right?
yeah.
So I hear that. And I will share with you, when I was a cop in New York City, most of the cops I worked with were like Irish, Italian, and I was Jewish. And a lot of times we would joke around. And there it seemed like okay, because maybe New York City cops were over 100 years old, and it was make an Irish joke or Italian joke or Jewish joke. For some reason, it was okay. When I came out to Henderson in general, 1 or 2 people made some jokes once about like being like Iraqi Jew. I'm not even Iraqi, but the war was going on, and the sergeant kept saying like Iraqi Jew to me, Iraqi Jew, and honestly, it was annoying because 1, I'm not Iraqi. But basically saying, oh, you look like an Iraqi Jew or something. And then 2, I don't like the word, like when someone says Jew,
So you got offended.
I feel like it's like derogatory when they say, if
But
you're
that's
not
not
Jewish,
even a
you're a Jew.
punchline.
But you got to.
But I got and then there was another officer I worked with who was Jewish, and he made a lot of Jewish jokes. And I said to the guy, I said, honestly, I'm more offended by you being Jewish, making these jokes,
Being a sellout.
because it makes us look bad. You're saying these,
That it's okay.
racist things about your own Jewish people. And you know what? My grandparents died in the Holocaust because they were Jewish, and I don't know what your situation is, but I don't find it acceptable. I don't find it acceptable from that sergeant to say that. But I will share with you, if I would have said something and I would have made a complaint, then I basically, like, my career would be over. So where you work depends in the situation. If
Yeah.
I would have made the complaint in Henderson, they would have moved me off the shift. Other sergeant lieutenants would watch me. Probably I would get some type of internal affairs complaint for something not related.
Yeah,
I
like
would eventually
me.
get fired.
You have to
So
be
the truth is,
somewhat thick-skinned.
You get
in this
charged with
world,
fraud.
honey.
the problem with it is eventually how
Little thick-skinned.
far do you go with it? Like, you
Yeah.
know, say in his class you could walk out
It's
and leave.
my class, though.
I didn't want to lose my job or my career, so I didn't
Right,
really say
right.
anything. I went
Right.
with the flow with it. I wasn't happy with it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was something that I wasn't fond of the time.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not easy being a police officer or being part of a fraternity, right? That basically
Yeah.
have a bunch of alpha males or like German shepherds, right? So it just wasn't worth the complaint. But I wasn't happy about the situation, you know.
Right, right.
But like I said, in his class, you could walk out. If you don't like the joke, you could leave.
Absolutely.
So you know, wherever we
You can
are.
avoid those people.
But
Well, you
these days, you know, people are a lot more sensitive, and you know, it's like the same thing with the bathrooms these days, right? Anybody can go to any bathroom, and you know,
It's
all this
because
stuff.
of all the hormones we're ingesting. They're
Yes,
making
you
it as
mentioned the
all
hormones.
bitches.
You know what I forgot to say, David?
It's the food, they say.
That
Too much
when
estrogen.
in the
Yes.
news,
Making all
they're
y'all
looking
bitches, too.
for people to come forward if they, you know.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Do you know how
Absolutely.
stupid that is?
Yeah, I saw that.
Come forward and get your CCW permit revoked. Right?
No, they said come
That
forward
is
with our
funny.
information.
Yeah, and they'll get their permit revoked.
Revoked.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that would be
probably.
stupid.
Oh,
Yeah, but they could look that up.
No,
No.
I'm just. If you have something, why are you still looking? Right? It's because they
Right.
never had a case to begin
Right,
with.
right, right.
They're trying to make one now.
absolutely.
And then they want to tell people, yeah, if you took this class and there's something amiss, you know, turn in your permit. That's essentially what will happen to you
I didn't
if
think
you
about that
come
part of it,
forward. They're
but
going to
interesting.
revoke your permit and make you take the class again.
Yep, that is true.
You know, one last thing to share is you mentioned about him. The sergeant was lying to get him to come in. There's something that's called a ruse that police are allowed to use. Every state's probably different.
Okay.
But you're allowed
I'm
to
not
use a
saying
ruse.
it's illegal.
We're allowed to use a
That is
ruse.
legal,
You're basically
okay.
allowed to lie for certain things, but you can't use like the ruse or a lie to basically get inside someone's house to basically check if there's like drugs. You can't say, "Oh, look, there's a gas leak. We need to come in to check if there's a gas leak," and then go find the drugs and the money. So there's certain rules with that. In this situation, it was easier and safer for him to go to the police station. The police, you know,
They
instead of-
wanted me unarmed.
Exactly, because if they went to the house, because he's a firearm expert, they would have to use SWAT. They would have to
Right.
basically go at 5 o'clock in the morning. So hey, if he's going to come in, it's a lot easier of a situation. So
But they knew I wanted to talk it out. You shouldn't use a
Well, you weren't
shouldn't
prepared.
use a
Did you think
banner
it all?
of truth.
Did you think
Oh
it
yeah,
all?
of course
that
I
maybe you
did.
may get arrested?
Why do you think I put a suit on?
You did what? I'm sorry. What was
suit?
your question?
Why do you think I wore a suit? I knew what they were up to.
What was your question?
Obviously, did you think that he would get arrested?
Oh,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
There was a possibility in your mind that you may get arrested.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But why did you put a suit on then? Because you wanted
'Cause
it
I-
to look good?
Because I wanted my mugshot to look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay. Wait, I
Maybe
have
you
my
could
phone
ask.
over
Maybe you
there.
could ask for a
I'll look that
redo.
up.
Maybe you could get like a redo.
I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh, can we please take another one, please?
It's like probably $10. You like, can I just
That's
do a
my
redo?
bad angle.
Oh,
Imagine
no.
we're not gonna- Well, here's the situation,
All right.
Nephi. I wish you well. I like to help you
Yeah.
out in general like that. I think you're a good person. I know that you mean well. Some people, you know, would disagree with some of the jokes and things. No, I'm not a perfect person. I don't think anyone here is a perfect person.
can't
John T-
please anybody.
John T and Rose look like perfect people, but
Well, yes.
no one's perfect. But I know you're passionate because I've seen you speak, and you really are for getting people trained and so on. I've seen you, and I've seen that your heart is in the right direction. I mean, I hope that you can beat this and have justice with it. I definitely would like to get some attorneys to help you with it because I know financially it becomes a burden. I don't want to see anything happen to you in general, but the question really comes down to, like in America, like how far do you want to fight with these certain things? He's in his mindset, he is fighting for other people's freedoms and liberties
Yeah.
because people will overstep, right? With these different organizations and entities, they try to act a little bit more and they start taking away your rights. So I understand that concern, and I wish him well with it. And I don't want anyone to be arrested. It's not a fun situation and not a fun thing to be in. Now he's got to worry about this every day. And the truth is, This will
no,
go on
I'm
for
only going to worry about it on Tuesdays.
Oh, okay, good.
Taco Tuesdays.
The rest of the time's mine.
But,
That's
but
a good
honestly,
thought.
this case will probably last a good
few years,
year and a half.
couple years, yeah,
And he's not going to take a deal, so it's going to go to trial.
Yeah, you bet your
And,
ass. I'm not afraid to fight.
yeah, good.
So you're talking maybe a year and a half. What do you think?
Couple years.
I don't think a couple years.
Yeah, well,
Actually,
maybe they need to cool their heels, but whatever it takes, I'm not going to drop my lawsuits, and we'll see. At the end of the day, I might go to jail, but I'll have $450,000. I'll have a lot of money on my books, right? Whatever it is. But I can promise you this: at the end of this, David, things will change because of me.
I know
it is.
But become a martyr.
I'm not a martyr. Things have already changed. They hadn't opened the standards up at the Sheriff's Association for 10 years. And then when it came to me, all of a sudden they're changing stuff. So I am
rules.
making them think.
Yeah.
I am forcing them to pay more attention to things.
Sure.
Metro's certainly looking at their policies. Now I'm forcing them to look at violating preemption law. I'm forcing them to look at other statutes that they're careless about. I am making them look at things. And yeah, I might be getting in trouble. I have my bad hair day photo put on the news and whatever. But you know what? Good will come of it. I promise you that.
Good luck to
Well,
you.
Nephi, we appreciate you coming to the show and explaining the situation in general like that. I'm sure that even the media will pick this up and probably hear your side of the story, which I think is
Well, they
actually
certainly
good.
didn't ask, which is unlike them.
So we hope that the media picks up and sees your side of the story that you're passionate about and you're speaking about in general. So are you willing to speak to the media if they want to talk
Of
with you?
course.
Okay.
I've never said no to a news interview.
Okay, so he's
What
available
kind of
as well.
media?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure like after this because it happened literally 48 hours ago and basically this is live. And
I was
people are seeing
only,
it.
it's like being at the DMV with a
How long-
long ticket.
how
How
long
long?
were you in and
9
out?
hours?
Any interesting people there?
Not really. Not really.
So listen, I can promise you this: no matter what, if something happens, Rose and John T will visit you.
Yes,
Can we get conjugals?
I heard that's not around anymore.
Hey, there's always a mop
Anywhere.
closet.
He could change the law while
Yeah, right.
he could change the law in when he's.
Oh, you're too
Change that
classy
law.
for the mop closet? Okay.
We'll make sure they're available. Anyway,
now I am.
thank you so much, Rose, for co-hosting today. Anything else?
It was a pleasure.
You are a rose, actually.
Yeah.
Quite in bloom.
She's the flower of the podcast of the
Yes.
Problem Solver. John T, thanks so much as usual. And Nephi, we'll see you in the near future. We wish you luck, praise for you,
Thank
and
you.
thanks so much for joining the Problem Solver every single week. We're here basically talking about different problems and trying to help different people and expose different things that are taking place, especially with Nephi's situation. So if someone's got a problem, go to theproblemsolver.vegas, 702-999-1111. Have a good week. Be safe.